You're sitting on your couch, scrolling, half listening to the TV, when the lights die so fast your brain thinks you blinked wrong. The hum of the fridge stops. The street outside goes from normal to cave dark in under 2 seconds. And somewhere in that silence, a car alarm dies mid-scream. For the first 30 seconds, your brain lies to you. It'll come back, any second now. But it doesn't. Your neighbors' houses vanish into black. The city loses its color. Suddenly you're very aware of how many people around you have no food, no plan, and a whole lot of panic brewing just under the surface. Here's the uncomfortable truth. 99% of people will treat the first few hours of a blackout like a minor inconvenience. Meanwhile, the 1% who know how bad this can get are locking down, going quiet, and tightening their perimeter. And inside that 1%, there's an even smaller group who actually know how not to get targeted when things turn ugly. Names Fallout Squirrel, and I've seen this play out enough times in real life and wargamed it enough in my head to know one thing with absolute certainty. Blackouts don't just turn off lights, they turn on predators. Tonight I'm breaking down the top 12 protection failures people make when the power dies, so you can be the weird, quiet house nobody wants to mess with. Before we dive deep, listen carefully. This channel isn't for the wait for authorities crowd. If you want to be part of the tiny fraction that actually walks out the other side of a major grid failure, hit subscribe, drop a comment with what scares you most about blackouts, and then lock in. While they're hoping the power company saves them, you're going to be busy making yourself a hard target. Let's start with failure number 1, because it's the one that gets you noticed before anything else. You're broadcasting like a lighthouse in a starving ocean. During a blackout, light and sound travel differently, not physically, but psychologically. In a world of darkness, that one glowing window or humming generator is basically a sign that says, "Resources here, please come take them." Let me paint you a picture. Whole neighborhood is blacked out, no streetlights, no traffic, no neon. After 20 minutes, your eyes adapt. Then you see it. A single blue TV glow leaking through curtains 2 houses over, voices drifting out, maybe a generator rumble. You're not the only one who notices. Desperate people, opportunists, and straight-up predators all see the same thing. Someone in that house has power, fuel, maybe food. Here's the physics lesson nobody thinks about. In normal conditions, your brain filters constant noise and light, the audio clutter of traffic, HVAC, electronics. When the grid dies, that clutter disappears. A poorly muffled generator at 50-60 decibels suddenly carries blocks away. A bare bulb porch light standing alone in darkness might as well be a flare. You've turned your home into a targeting beacon without even realizing it. Your fix? Light and sound discipline like you're in hostile territory, because you are. Blackout curtains that actually block light, not those flimsy decorative things from the big box store. Interior lighting set low and pointed down. Red or amber lower lumen lights instead of bright white LEDs. Generators in enclosures with baffles and distance and used in deliberate cycles. Run, charge, shut down, go dark. While everyone else is trying to pretend it's movie night, you're embracing the dark and becoming invisible. Dark truth time. Total silence and total darkness aren't always possible, especially with kids, elders, or medical gear. The goal isn't perfection, it's reduction. Every decibel and every lumen you strip away shrinks your attack surface. Your directive. Walk outside your home at night, power off everything you control, then look back at your house. Map every light leak, every sound source, and fix them now. Not when the grid dies. Failure number 2. Treating your home like a castle when it's actually just a cardboard box with good marketing. Most people think a deadbolt equals security. Cute. Modern construction is designed for efficiency and aesthetics, not resisting forced entry from a desperate human with 30 seconds and a heavy object. When the power's out, a lot of electronic barriers disappear instantly. No alarms, no smart locks, no doorbell cams, no motion-triggered floods. What you're left with is raw physics, the tensile strength of your door frame, the screw length in your strike plates, the kind of screws used in your hinges, the material of your window frames. That's what stands between you and someone kicking the door halfway down the hallway. Here's what 99% of people never do. They don't harden the frame. It's not the lock that usually fails. It's the surrounding wood that shatters. Your tactical move is to reinforce the jam with metal plates, Upgrade to 3 to 4-inch screws biting into the wall studs and use longer screws on hinges. On top of that, you add a secondary physical barrier, like a door bar, security brace, or even a custom-cut lumber bar system that can't be bypassed by just popping a lock. While everyone else is trusting the factory hardware, you're treating your front door like it's the only thing keeping the flood out, because in a blackout, it might be. And here's the kicker. The harder your door is to breach, the more likely opportunistic threats move on to easier targets. Predators are lazy. They want cheap wins, not prolonged fights. Your directive: pick one exterior door and fully harden it this week, so you at least have one serious fallback barrier. Failure number 3, windows framed like display cases, not defensive openings. Huge exposed glass panes, no secondary locking, easy sightlines straight into your living space. In a blackout, windows become both your observation points and your vulnerabilities, and most people only treat them as the second one, by hiding and giving up their view. Let me spell it out. If you can see out, someone can see in, unless you get intentional. You want layered window setups where you can observe without broadcasting your presence. That means blackout curtains you can peel back from one tight corner, using a narrow angle to scan, with furniture or dark backgrounds behind you so you're not silhouetted. You turn your windows into observation ports, not giant glowing monitors. Then there's the physical breach side. Glass is fragile. You're not going to make your place bulletproof, but you can make it more annoying to get through. Security film on key windows, secondary barriers like interior bars for basement windows, even thorny landscaping under easily accessible panes. While they're stepping over decorative bushes, you're making their entry path a series of painful, noisy problems. Reality check. You can't make a standard suburban house into a fortress without a stupid amount of money and time. That's not the goal. You're buying delay and discouragement. A few extra seconds of noise and struggle can be the difference between you having time to react or waking up to someone already inside. Your directive: pick your 3 most vulnerable windows and give each at least 2 upgrades, 1 visual, 1 physical. Failure number 4, no perimeter, no buffer, no awareness. Most people only think about security at the wall of their home. By the time a threat is at your door, you've already lost most of your options. You need layers, rings of information that tell you who's moving where long before they're touching your hardware. In a blackout, electronic security is degraded or dead. So your outer rings have to be low-tech, high reliability, things like simple physical obstacles, choke points, noisy surfaces, and analog detectors. Gravel instead of smooth concrete where you expect foot traffic. Gates that squeak on purpose. Wind chimes or improvised jangly noisemakers on specific access points. It's not Hollywood lasers. It's, if someone comes through here, I hear it. Here's where people screw up. They think perimeter means high fence. A tall privacy fence can actually work against you during a blackout because it hides what's happening just on the other side. I want layers I can see and hear across, with defined funnel points where any movement is more predictable. While they're hiding behind their 6-foot fence pretending they have privacy, you're shaping the landscape so you control where problems can physically approach. Dark truth: you're not building a prison, you're building a delay system. If someone is committed and has tools and time, they eventually get in. Your aim is to detect early, slow them down, and make your position look like more trouble than it's worth. Your directive: walk your perimeter in daylight and in darkness. Where could someone approach unseen? Where could they move silently? That's where you add noise, obstacles, and eyes. Failure number 5, assuming threats only come from out there. When stress goes up and resources go down, the most dangerous people can be the ones already inside your circle: neighbors, relatives, even people you think of as friends. I'm not telling you to turn into a paranoid hermit. I'm telling you to stop assuming everyone thinks like you. Here's how it plays out. Day 1, people treat the blackout like a snow day. Day 2 or 3, fridges are warm, gas is low, information is scarce. The more prepared you obviously appear, the more pressure builds on people around you to borrow your security. And sometimes that starts with a knock and a smile and ends with entitled anger when you say no. If you've spent years bragging about your generator, your guns, your food stash to anyone who listens, you've accidentally built a threat profile around yourself. Operational security, OPSEC, isn't just for 3-letter agencies. It's for anyone who doesn't want to crowd on their porch when times get ugly. That means not posting your fuel stock, your ammo pile, your solar array online. It means not telling every coworker that you're totally set for the apocalypse. It means practicing plausible modesty. Yeah, we've got a few days of stuff, but we'll see what happens, instead of, I've got 6 months of mountain house and a backup well. Harsh reality. In a prolonged blackout, you might have to choose between preserving your security and helping people you care about. I'm not giving you moral answers, I'm giving you the tactical truth that every person you bring into your circle increases risk. Your directive: audit who knows what about your preps. If more than 5 people know details, you've already overshared. Start tightening that circle now. Failure number 6: no plan for security rotation. You are not a robot. You can't stay up for 48 hours on adrenaline and caffeine without your brain turning to mush. Yet I've watched people talk like they'll just stay up and guard the house for as long as the blackout lasts. That's not a plan. That's a slow-motion collapse. In any prolonged crisis, fatigue is your enemy. It messes with your ability to judge threats, control your emotions, and even aim a weapon if it comes to that. A tired defender is a sloppy defender. The longer the lights stay off, the more your household needs a watch schedule, even if it's just 2 people. Shifts, overlap, rest periods. Same as any small unit in a hostile environment. Here's your tactical framework. Identify your earliest, high-risk hours, usually midnight to sunrise, and ensure someone is awake during that window. If you've got more than 2 capable adults, break it into smaller shifts. If you're alone, accept that you need to micro-nap and layer passive defenses as heavily as possible so you're alerted before someone is literally on top of you. While everyone else runs on pure anxiety until they crash, you're pacing yourself like this might last weeks. Dark truth. The first night is easy. It's dramatic and new. The 3rd or 4th night is where people get sloppy and start missing things. That's when you get tested. Your directive. Right now, write down a sample 72-hour rotation plan for the people in your home. Even if you think you'll improvise, putting it on paper shows you where the gaps are. Failure number 7. Treating generators and fuel like magic rectangles instead of giant loot me signs. In a blackout, a running generator is the sound of money. It's rare, it's valuable, and it's obvious. People will follow that hum like sharks follow blood in the water. And if you're storing fuel sloppy on top of that, you're basically running an open-air convenience store. First problem? Placement. Folks park generators on driveways, patios, and open backyards where the exhaust can vent, but also where they're easy to see, hear, and steal. Second problem: run pattern. If your generator kicks on like clockwork every evening, anyone watching now knows exactly when your place is powered up. Third problem: fuel visible in obvious places, cans by the back door, shed with cheap lock, garage windows showing your stash. Your move is to blend necessity with stealth. That means placing the generator behind structures, using barriers or DIY baffles to redirect sound upward or into soft ground, chaining and locking it, and limiting run time to high-need windows, charging batteries, running a freezer, pumping water. Fuel lives out of sight in locked spaces and, if possible, distributed into a couple of separate secure spots so one breach doesn't zero you out. Reality check. There is no such thing as a totally quiet generator, and anybody determined enough can find one. But you can absolutely make yourself a less obvious, less convenient target than the guy 3 houses down blasting his whole home like it's Vegas. Your directive: go outside, stand where a random passerby would, and ask yourself, if I heard my generator right now, where would I go? Wherever you'd go, so will other people. Failure number 8. Ignoring fire as a weapon, not an intentional one, but a side effect of desperation and stupidity. In a blackout, people start using open flames, improvised stoves, illegal heaters, and backyard fires. Combine that with dark, overloaded spaces and no functioning smoke detectors or fire department response times, and suddenly your biggest threat might not be a looter. It might be your neighbor's trash fire jumping to your roof. Most people don't map how fire would move through their immediate environment. They've got flammable fencing, dry brush up against siding, cluttered porches, and narrow escape routes. If something catches nearby, they have no clue how they'd defend their home or when they'd decide to bail. They're thinking about guns at the door, not smoke in the hallway. Your defensive posture has to include fire breaks and backup routes. Clear combustible junk from along exterior walls, trim trees that hang over your roof. Know which wall is most exposed to a neighbor's risk. Keep extinguishers where you can actually grab them in the dark, near exits, not buried in a closet. And most importantly, have a pre-decided threshold, the point at which your plan switches from defend the house to get everyone out alive. While they're clinging to their stuff, you're prioritizing your people. Dark truth: you can survive a home invasion and still lose everything. You can't negotiate with fire. Your directive: tonight, walk around your place and picture a wall of flame on each side, one at a time. How close is the nearest fuel? What's your escape route? If you can't answer without thinking hard, that's a problem. Failure number 9. Zero plan for information. People think of security as walls, locks, and guns. But in a blackout, information is a defensive asset. If you don't know what's happening beyond your property line, you're blind. And blind defenders make stupid decisions, either overreacting to every noise or underreacting to real threats. When the grid dies, so does high-bandwidth communication. No TV, no cable internet, cell networks overloaded or down. If you've built your entire awareness around push notifications and news feeds, you're in the dark twice, physically and mentally. Meanwhile, somebody with even a basic battery-powered radio and a simple scanner has a massive advantage. They can hear emergency broadcasts, local chatter, maybe even police or fire activity depending on laws and gear. I'm not saying you need to become a ham radio wizard overnight. I'm saying you need at least one non-grid dependent way to receive information, and ideally some way to send it short range, like basic FRS, GMRS handheld radios for your household or small group. And you need a pre-agreed set of codes or simple phrases so that if you do get separated, you're not playing 20 questions over a compromised channel. While everyone else is guessing, you're making moves based on real-world signals. Reality check. Most people won't bother with this because it's too nerdy or it'll never happen. That's exactly why you'll have the edge. Your directive: buy or dig out a basic battery or crank radio, store spare batteries with it, and actually test it in a no-power drill. Then, if you have trusted people nearby, agree on one channel and one simple phrase that means regroup at home now. Failure. Number 10. Completely ignoring vertical advantage. Humans think in flat maps, streets, fences, yards. But in security, height is visibility, and visibility is power. In a blackout, most people hunker down at ground level, staring out horizontal windows while rooftops, balconies, stairwells, and upper floors sit unused. Let me be clear. I'm not telling you to start patrolling your roof like some discount action hero. I am telling you that if you have access to a higher vantage point safely, you can observe much farther with much less risk of being surprised. One quick look from an upstairs window or fire escape can tell you if that noise 3 houses down is a fight, a fire, or just some idiot tripping over their trash can. Here's the tactical angle. The higher you are, the narrower the angle someone has to spot you if you manage your light and silhouette correctly. An upstairs window with curtains mostly closed and a tiny observation gap is a better post than standing right next to your front door listening like a horror movie extra. While everyone else is glued to peepholes, you're mapping the street. Dark truth. Not every structure is safe for rooftop or balcony use, especially in older buildings or during bad weather. Don't die falling off your own roof trying to feel tactical. Your directive: identify one elevated, structurally safe observation point in or just outside your home and set it up now. Quiet flooring, no trip hazards, a place to rest binoculars, and a way to black out backlighting behind you. Failure number 11. Mixing escape routes with entry routes, making your easiest way out also the easiest way in. In a blackout, people block doors with furniture for security and then discover they've trapped themselves. Or they secure every possible exit like Fort Knox and forget that sometimes the smartest move is to leave. Your home is a defensive position, not a coffin. You need at least 2 viable exit paths that don't require moving a ton of junk, unlocking 6 devices, or threading through a maze of chaos in the dark. One should be your primary, well-lit by memory route. The other can be more awkward, but still doable. A back door, a window with an easy drop, a fire escape. But both need to be tested in real conditions, at night, with minimal light, under some stress. At the same time, you need to make those routes less obvious from the outside. That might mean secondary locks, security bars you can quickly release from the inside, or landscaping that discourages approach while still letting you slip through. It's a balance. Hard for them, manageable for you. That's why you don't just slap bars on everything and call it done. You practice getting out. While everyone else is either wide open or completely sealed, you're intentionally in the middle. Reality check. In some scenarios, leaving your home is more dangerous than staying. In others, fire, structural damage, overwhelming threats, staying is suicide. I can't make that call for you, but I can tell you that fumbling with junk and locks in panic is how people die. Your directive, tonight, run a lights-out exit drill from bedroom to outside using your planned route. Time it, then reduce anything that slows you down. Failure number 12. Believing your plan is about winning instead of surviving. This is the mental protection failure that gets people hurt. They build their fantasy around dramatic last stands, gear-heavy confrontations, and teaching looters a lesson. Listen carefully. There is no prize for most dramatic defender. There is only alive or not alive. In a blackout crisis, your main goals are to avoid conflict, preserve resources, and keep your people intact. That means your best move 9 times out of 10 is not to engage. It's to deter, delay, and disappear. You're not trying to dominate the neighborhood. You're trying to be boring. Predators hunt the loud, the flashy, the careless, not the quiet, confusing, hard-to-read house that never quite looks worth the trouble. Here's the dark truth no one selling you fantasy gear wants to say: you can do everything right and still get tested. You can layer defenses, manage light and sound, run rotations, and still roll snake eyes on luck. The point isn't perfection. It's stacking every advantage you can so that when randomness hits, it hits softer. You're chasing better odds, not guaranteed safety. So here's your choice right now. You can close this video, tell yourself the grid is stable, the authorities always show up, and your neighborhood is nice. Or you can act like someone who has finally seen how thin the veneer really is. Pick 3 of these 12 failures, the ones that hit you hardest, and fix them this month. Harden a door, black out a window, set up a watch rotation, buy the damn radio, then come back and keep pushing. 99% of people won't do any of this. The 1% who think will survive more often. The 0.1% who act will shape what comes next. Subscribe if you're in that 0.1%. Drop a comment with the first protection failure you're going to eliminate, and start building the version of you that doesn't panic when the lights die. Your move.